An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge by Ambrose Bierce. Known as Bitter Bierce, because he, in general, was disappointed, pessimistic, and cynical about life and humanity in general. Nihilism and gallows humor, in other words, well, life is meaningless, and he had an extremely dark sense of humor. He was a Union Army volunteer during the Civil War, and a great alternative way to sample some of his humor is to read his Devil's Dictionary, which is a collection of very darkly comical definitions about select things, select words. He became a journalist after the war. Again, things that contributed to his bitter reputation. He had a divorce, and both of his sons died. One over a girl, and the other of alcoholism. And probably the best known thing about him, other than the story An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, is the fact that in 1913 he went to Mexico and disappeared without a trace, hence the question mark at the end of his lifespan. The story An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge has 3 parts. Part 1, a planter is being hanged from Owl Creek Bridge by Union soldiers. That is, a Confederate sympathizer. Part 2, the planter is Peyton Farquhar, a Confederate sympathizer caught in an attempt to burn Owl Creek Bridge by a Union scout who was disguised as a Confederate soldier. And in Part 3, the rope breaks, and he falls into the river, diving to avoid bullets. During this moment, his senses seem to have become heightened, hence the very vivid, realistic description you will see. He escaped into a forest, but finds a road and finds home. But all of that was, in fact, just a vision. A sort of a life flashing before the eyes type of vision, as he plummets to have his neck broken by the noose. So all of that hallucination is happening between the time that he is thrown down and when the rope breaks his neck. Other considerations as you're reading the story, notice the prose style. It's sparse, terse, that is, very to the point and spare. Matter of fact, and an awful lot of showing, not telling. In other words, showing you what is going on without any kind of opinionated commentary from the narrator. And a very sarcastic tone. His humor is not missing in this story. This story also features Gothic realism and macabre detailing, 2 terms that are used interchangeably. And that refers to sadistically agonizing attention to unpleasant and grisly detail. In other words, instead of glossing over something unpleasant, you just turn the screws, you slow it down, you zoom in to the unpleasantness with the vividness of your description. Gothic realism and macabre detailing. There is archetypal, mythic, and even dreamlike, uncanny imagery. Deeply psychoanalytical and Freudian. And it demonstrates a mocking, cynical outlook on worldly and human affairs, of course consistent with the author's personality. Okay, I look forward to your responses on the discussion board.